happening. And our next speaker I'd like to welcome is Dieter Hochuli from the School of Biological Sciences.
Thanks, Jenny. Look, cities are typically thought of as pretty hostile places for biodiversity, and you might think, looking at some of the places that Glenda gets to work, you might ask why you're actually going to look at ecology in cities rather than at nicer places. And essentially, one of the reasons is this. About half the world's populations currently live in urbanised areas. That's predicted to be 70% by about 2050 or so. And one of the things we're interested in doing is understand how cities change nature from a perspective looking at this very coarse perspective back through here, right up to this fundamental, very basic perspective down here. And the reason for doing that is pretty simple. Nature in cities is in decline and it's degraded. This is an example of some work near Sydney where we can look and see that basically the trees poking through the forest in this urban forest are in dieback, or they're dead. And one of the things we want to do is establish this leaf to landscape understanding of why nature in cities is being affected by biodiversity shifts and what the links between biodiversity and ecosystem function are. With this particular case, we've found that biodiversity change has led to disruptions in ecological interactions, leading to this perception that small isolated remnants are in decline and potentially doomed with respect to their natural significance or their natural integrity. Now, one of the things that's interesting to us isn't so much just documenting these patterns of decline. We're very interested in finding out why these areas are in decline. So we move down from landscape levels right down to these finer scale levels, and this is where a lot of the joy comes in our basic work. In that top picture on the far left there, you might be able to see those caterpillars there. We've found that these guys are no longer being eaten by the things that used to be in these environments, and their release from predation is leading to these animals defoliating trees and contributing significantly to dieback in these areas. We don't just work on real caterpillars. You might pick up that those caterpillars just through here are fake caterpillars. They're modelling clay or plasticine caterpillars we use. We can't observe predation very easily. If you want the technique, basically we make them by getting plasticine and doing this. It's very therapeutic if you need some time away from the computer. We do that to try and monitor rates of predation and try to literally identify whether caterpillars are more likely to be attacked in different types of landscapes than others. It's not all negative either. We've found that if you look at restoring various types of landscapes, if you get the right types of ants returning to your environments again, you can actually find that they come back with a process of seed removal and seed dispersal, which actually contributes to the recruitment of plants into these areas. So you can actually find that by returning components of biodiversity to these systems, you can actually help remedy them. And it's not all negative for some animals. Many of you will have seen these golden orb weavers around the various parts of Sydney. These things we think are urban exploiters. An ongoing project at the moment is really showing that these things actually thrive in urban environments, and we think that they're basically exploiting things like the absence of predators, changed thermal conditions and improved food, but we don't actually know that yet. We've got a graduate student out there doing that work at the moment. So the mechanisms of change are really fascinating for us. That's probably one of the fun things that we do. But what's really interesting and emerging for us are some of these new programs. We've got two new projects that really look at a range of things. On the top left there, I can see that university branding seems to be obscuring our research. So the UR, that's the first. The project, the Who Needs Nature project, we're interested in looking at the links between urban biodiversity and self-reported human wellbeing. Lucy Taylor, who I see up there in the back corner, is running this project. She's there standing in the middle of Parramatta Road for a photo opportunity. If you go to that URL and look at Who Needs Nature, we're actually interested in getting opinions from people of Sydney, Melbourne, Wellington and Auckland. We're really interested in trying to look at how wellbeing is enhanced by nature in cities and biodiversity. The final thing I'd like to allude to is this notion through here, educating the broader community about the work we do at the university and giving people a chance to engage with nature is a really important part of what we can do. Those notions of nature deficit disorder in cities are really significant. There's a strong link between nature and wellbeing in these environments. And so look, to finish off basically, to really flesh out these gaps from leaf to landscape down here, I need to work with, I love being alone in my ivory tower, but I need to work with geographers, chemists, social scientists, educators and a whole bunch of other biologists. And I'd really welcome opportunities to try and discuss some of the possibilities that are there with our work. So thank you.